Mechanics of Material, Chapter 9, Stress Transformation. So in this example, we already had this example, which we have an element and we want to have a 30 degrees counterclockwise rotation. So this is our sample and we want to have a 30 degrees counterclockwise rotation and see what is the state of stresses in our new position. So if you remember, we had this circle of mole for example, this is for x, plane of x. If you draw this more circle, it just gives you 8 ksi push, that's a negative 8 for normal, and a 6 ksi like this part, it just tries to turn our sample like a clockwise, so that goes at the top of x-axis in sigma tau axis. So that's a positive 6. And the other one, likewise, a positive 12. That's a normal of 12. It just tries to turn our sample like counterclockwise, and it just goes x-axis for the in tau and sigma there. That's a negative 6. So as soon as we translate our planes like two dots in Mohr circle, like x and y, we can draw our Mohr circle and a 60 degree like a counterclockwise 30 degrees. It just translates like the same counterclockwise but twice in Mohr circle as we discussed earlier. So, and if you just calculate the r, it just gives you a 6 plus 6 square per square root of 6 square plus 10 square. It just gives you 11.66 ksi. And from plane A, a normal x, which is theta is equal to 0. This is our theta equal to 0. And this is normal. Just want to from here to 60 degrees or 30 degrees in elements, like counterclockwise, to get us to the CP. So if we call this a small angle like phi, that's a inverse tangent of 6/10, and the total is, this one is 60 from CA to CP, if we call it plane A, from CA to CP by a 60 degree, and it just gives us phi is equal to 30.96. So the rest is 60 minus this angle, that's 29.4. And as soon as we have calculated that one, we can easily go for sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. How is that? That's this amount is tau x prime y prime, and sigma x prime is, this is our C, this is our origin. This amount is sigma x prime from our origin. So it just gives us a negative 8.2. We just solved it in previous problem. If you want the detail, you can review that. I will provide you with the link to that video. You can review it carefully, but we want to solve it, and it just gives us a tau x prime y prime like 5.66 ksi for tau x prime y prime, which is this vertical distance, and sigma x prime is the horizontal distance from the origin to all the way to here. It's a negative 8.20 ksi. But this time we want to make it a bit easier with the formula. So sigma x prime is using this formula, and that gives us a sigma x prime equal to, just don't forget to follow the sign. If you're using the formula, a downward is a negative and a upward is positive, like positive and negative y direction. and also a counterclockwise like what we had here, something like a that's a positive, and that's why we just consider it two of them formula. Sigma x prime is again the same numeric value from a Mohr circle, and that sigma x prime is equal to, that is a negative 8.20 megapascal. Likewise, if you want to use the formula tau x prime y prime, it just gives you numeric value of tau x prime y prime a positive 5.66 megapascal. And a one, if you want to make a comparison between formula and also like a Mohr circle in terms of if you're using the equation and also Mohr circle, these are the result of formula for sigma x prime, tau x prime, y prime. Also, this is the result of circle, sigma x prime, and, and tau x prime, y prime. One last note, which is important one. Many times the student asking when it's a good time to use the formula and when is more appropriate to use the Mohr circle. I do recommend you to use, it's up to you if you want to use either of them, that's completely up to you, but a friendly recommendation to use formula. Then the question is asking again, I'm telling you it's up to you, but then they just provide you with a sample and they just want to know if we just rotate it like, for example, 30 degrees clockwise, what are the stresses? You can simply replace that 30 degrees, like forget this is a negative 30 if you're using formula. This time it's more better to use the formula, just replace in the formula minus 30 2 times 30, and don't forget about the signs to get the stresses. And if you want to calculate sigma mean and max, if you are asked to calculate the principles, I strongly recommend to use Mohr circle because that's a understanding of what's happening. But again, that was just a recommendation. That's completely up to you. Thank you.